Over the years, seemingly miraculous feats have been performed by profoundly disabled people with the help of a controversial technique known as facilitated communication. It's a method where people who can't speak or communicate normally are given physical support to help them do so. But there have long been serious doubts over whether it actually works. Now that argument has descended into a heartbreaking legal battle for one Victorian family. Kirsten Vaness reports.
Hello, what are you doing?
Eleanor and David McFarlane come to Melbourne from the country to visit their daughter as often as they can.
Are you happy to see us? Whoa, look at these. Wacko.
Leonie McFarlane is turning 50 this year. She has cerebral palsy and has been assessed as having the intelligence of a very young child.
Oh, she likes attention.
She loves attention, yes.
But for decades, Leonie McFarlane has been caught up in a battle over whether she in fact has a higher intelligence and can communicate through a controversial technique called facilitated communication. The practice was founded by Dr. Rosemary Crossley in the 1970s.
Facilitated communication is a technique to enable people to use communication aids.
Anne MacDonald was Dr. Crossley's first and most famous protégé. Her story was told in a book and a movie called Annie's Coming Out, as well as countless TV programs.
Another way Annie has of talking is with her face.
It was thought Anne MacDonald was intellectually disabled, but Dr. Crossley maintained she found a way to communicate by supporting her arm to help Anne MacDonald spell out words. And in 1979, Anne was able to move out of the state-run institution she had been placed in.
The court ruled that Anne MacDonald, an 18-year-old spastic, was able to manage her own affairs and no longer needed to be under the control of the public trustee.
Anne MacDonald died 2 years ago. In her life, she graduated from university, travelled to overseas conferences and won a disability award. But many still question whether facilitated communication actually works.
A number of authors in the literature have argued that it is in fact working like a Ouija board, that the facilitators are just not conscious of what they're doing.
Emeritus Professor Alan Hudson has assessed more than 20 people who are using FC and says he has never found it to work.
In some assessments, what happens, of course, is that not only is the user given some information or shown a picture or told something, the facilitator is also given that information. And on many occasions what actually happens is that what you get is not what was shown to the client, but what actually was shown to the facilitator.
Leonie McFarlane was in the same institution as Anne MacDonald and first came into contact with Dr. Crossley there.
It was the hardest thing that David and I have ever done in our life, was to put her into St Nick's, but we knew that it was what we needed to do and we did it for her best interest.
It was claimed Leonie McFarlane could communicate using yes-no switches fitted to her wheelchair. After more than 30 years, Leonie's family is now speaking out for the first time after Dr. Crossley tried to take Leonie to Adelaide to present at a conference. So have you ever believed that Leonie could communicate?
No. We've tried. We wanted it as much as anybody else wants your child to be able to speak, or to communicate, I should say, but never ever.
Oh, I think she recognises me.
Anne MacDonald's mother, Beverly, also says she never believed her daughter could communicate.
I believe that she had the intelligence of about a 2 or 3 year old child. You know, I played with her, I tested her, I asked her questions, but I got nowhere.
Hello, Leon.
She says she's supporting the McFarlanes, who last year took their concerns to Seth Howell from disability advocacy group Valid. He recommended their daughter be tested.
The supporter of FC asked Leonie the first question: can you please hit the yes switch for me? No. Okay, try again. Can you please hit the yes switch for me? No. So we were in there for a considerable period of time trying to communicate with Leonie.
The issue eventually ended up here at the Supreme Court of Victoria last year, when Dr. Crossley tried to prevent the Department of Human Services from stopping her from taking Leonie McFarlane to the conference in Adelaide. But the judge refused the application, saying it would be a bold step to allow Leonie to travel to Adelaide against the wishes of her parents and carer. Rosemary Crossley says for legal reasons she can't talk about Leonie. What are the implications of the case of Leonie? Does it cast doubt on the validity of facilitated communication?
No.
Why not?
I can't answer that question.
Dr Crossley says the technique has helped hundreds of people all over the world to communicate, like 17-year-old Tim Chan. He has autism and doesn't speak, but can communicate with the help of a facilitator.
I am intelligent, but most people equate speech with intellect, and I do not have the level of acceptance I crave.
I crave, yes.
His mother, Sarah Chan, says he started FC when he was 9 and over time has needed less contact to type.
As he gets more independent, as he gets more confident, I move my hand a little bit further up. It's called fading.
I'm currently working with Tim Chan here in Melbourne, and Tim Chan says that if it wasn't for facilitated communication, and in particular a high degree of physical support, he wouldn't be communicating with the level of independence that he currently is.
Well, even if there is minimal contact, there is still the possibility that that minimal contact is used to cue the individual user.
No one's ever given a physical explanation of how that could be done.
We want an NDIS! As Australia appears to be moving towards a national disability insurance scheme, disability groups are calling for governments to put out a clear position on facilitated communication.
There needs to be independent safeguards and scrutiny to ensure that what an individual is saying is what they are actually saying and they're not being influenced by a third party.
Valid has already put out a strong public position on its website, but not all disability groups feel the same.
When I look at Tim Chan's communication, I don't see quackery, I see a young man who's found a voice.
We've also got people who are starting to talk after using communication aids that say what they type. There's something happening out there. It's not rubbish.
See you soon. We love Leonie very much. We think that we communicate in the best way that we can. We just wanted to have a happy rest of her life.
Kirsten Vaness reporting.